In the last video, we got our modal to appear on the screen, but of course it really does not look that good. So in this video, we're going to focus on adding some better styling to this thing and also getting the ability to customize our modal when it appears. I want to first show you the semantic UI documentation around modals just to give you a better idea of what we're going to do. So in a new browser tab, I'm going to go to semantic-ui.com. Once over here, I'll select menu, and then I'll go down to the very bottom, find the modules section, and I'll find the modal right there. Now, the default modal included with semantic UI expects that we are using jQuery, and we are, of course, not using jQuery. We are using entirely React. So essentially, we are kind of using the styling of modals from semantic UI, but we're not making use of any of the built-in functionality or the JavaScript side of modals, as they are included in semantic UI. So on this page, I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I just want to show you this example right here for actions. So inside of a modal, we can place a div with the class of header, a div with the class content, and a div with class actions. Those three divs right there generally line up with this mockup right here. So at the very top is the div with header, whatever is shown in the middle is the div with content, and then finally at the bottom is div with class actions. That's going to be whatever shows on the bottom down here. Let's just try to write these divs in and get some better styling going on for right now. So back inside my editor, I'm going to delete the gibberish I had inside there, and then I will place a div with the class name of header, and I'll give it some text like, let's say, delete stream. That'll work. I'll put a div in here with the class name of content, and I'll give it some text like, are you sure you want to delete the stream? And then finally a div with a class name of actions, and that will be the the delete and the cancel button at the bottom. So class name of actions. Oh, well, let's get it fixed there. And inside that div, I'll do a button with a class name of UI primary. Actually, let's drop off the primary and just replace it with button like so. That'll give us a nice gray button for cancel. And then for the delete button, we can do a class name UI primary button, and we'll give that one the text delete, like so. Now let's save this and see how this looks now. So I'll flip back over, and that looks way better than it did before. So I got the nice header on there, I've got the nice content, and the delete text right there as well. So this definitely looks like a pretty good improvement. But there's just one little issue here. There always is an issue, right? When is there never an issue? I want you to notice how right now, if I click off of the modal, like on the background over here, the modal just stays on the screen. Now, typically, whenever we have a modal window, if a user clicks in the background, we're going to want to dismiss the modal window entirely and just hide it or go do something else. Essentially, we do not want to lock a user into having to click on these two buttons right here. I think you can agree with me that you probably feel like if you hit back here or on the background, you want to see the modal go away. So let's figure out how we could do that. All right, so I'm going to flip back over. Remember that right now we're only showing this modal on the screen if the user is at the route stream/delete. So a very easy way that we could get this modal to go away is to just navigate to a different route inside of our application. So essentially, if a user clicks on the background div, we want to navigate the user to some other location or path inside of our app. We can get a user to navigate programmatically by making use of that history object that we created a little bit ago. So inside of my modal, at the very top, I'm going to import history from up one directory history. So this is, remember, that history.js object or the history.js file where we created our history for React Router. Then on my div with UI dimmer modals visible active, I can add on a on-click event handler. So anytime that a user clicks on this thing, we can call history.push, and we can go back to our root route like so. So notice how I wrap this inside of an arrow function. So anytime we click on that thing, run that arrow function, which is going to call history.push. So let's try saving this and giving it a quick shot. So I'll flip back over, and now when I click on that, I see the window go away. Well, let's try that again one more time because it happened pretty darn quickly. I'm going to again go to localhost 3000 stream/delete. And now if I click on, say, the background, yep, I go back to my main stream window. But let's do this one more time, and I want to show you some interesting behavior. This time around, I'm going to click like just to the left of the delete button. So let's say that our user comes in here and they tried to click that delete button, but they accidentally click just off to the left-hand side. So if I click just to the left-hand side, that still dismisses the entire modal, or it navigates us away. Well, why is that? Well, essentially, this is very basic event handling. This is event propagation. So remember, this is default JavaScript behavior, default HTML behavior. If we ever trigger an event on some child element, and that child element does not handle that event, the event is going to essentially bubble up to some parent element until it eventually gets caught with an event handler. So in this case, if I click on any of the elements inside of here, any of these things, that click event is going to bubble up to this div. It's going to run the onClick event handler right here, which is going to run history.push. So that's definitely something that we probably don't want to have happen. So to make sure that doesn't occur, we can add a click event handler to the window div, or the content div right here, the div with the class name of UI standard modal. So I'll add in a click event handler to that as well. And then inside of here, I'm going to get the event argument that this function will be called with. Remember, whenever an event occurs, we always get an event argument or event object as the argument. And on that event argument, we can call e, or event, e for short, dot stop propagation, like so. So stop propagation is going to make sure that that event does not continue to bubble up and go to this div right here, thus causing our window to get dismissed by navigating to some other page. So I can save this. And now if we flip back over and again go manually to stream/delete, now I can click all over this inner content window and nothing gets dismissed until I click on the background behind it. All right, so that's a little bit better. Now, our modal is coming along pretty well here, but I want to point out a little bit of an issue. At present, it has some hard-coded content inside of here, like hard-coded delete stream and hard-coded text of, are you sure you want to delete this stream? Usually, anytime we create a modal, we definitely want to make sure that it is reusable in nature. So there might be many other locations inside of our application where we want to show a modal, and in every one of those cases, we probably are going to want to have a different header, different content, different buttons, and we want different things to occur whenever a user clicks on those buttons. In addition, if a user dismisses the modal by clicking on that background, in some cases, we might not want to navigate back to the root route. So I think that we need to figure out a way to make this component far more reusable than it currently is. So let's take a quick pause right here. When we come back in the next section, we'll do some refactoring to the modal.